Hello and welcome to episode 11 of Meandering with Purpose, Meandering with Nia. I'm just so happy. All right, we're just going to hop right into it. I'm going to see if I can get under a 5-minute episode in. Only the Lord knows. But we are entering day 11 of Meditations for Immortals by Oliver Burkeman. And day 11 was all about befriending what you fear. And the opening quote was by C.J. Jung. We cannot change anything unless we accept it. And so this chapter is all about giving a possible way to interact and be in relationship with the things in our life that we spend so much time and energy trying to avoid. Because a lot of times, really important tasks or things that give us anxiety, we tend to procrastinate. And what ends up happening is it still takes energy to procrastinate. And so if we could actually just perhaps transform our relationship to the things that we're trying to avoid, we can use the energy that we were already using on procrastination to actually, be in right relationship and make progress on the things that are really important for us as human beings. So Oliver goes on in this chapter to bring up a kind of tool that we can use when dealing with different life tasks, different things that we need to do in our life that we're trying to avoid. And it comes from a Dutch Zen monk named Paul Lumens. And it comes from his book, Time Surfing. And it's this idea of going to the shed, dealing with our rats. Rats are kind of the things that are kind of we don't like, or not the most exciting things, or just give us anxiety or give us a little bit of fear. And I'm not going to take a lot of time to read every word that is shared in this chapter. You should go read this book. However, I'm going to give you a life example for me. So one of the rats in my life over the past 3 years was always when it came time for me to have to move from where I was, and I had to pack up my entire life in a 40-liter book bag that I would carry on the back of my back. And I would always just feel so much anxiety, fear. I would be Snapchatting my friends. I would be scrolling on Instagram. I would be doing all the things to avoid up until the night before my flight when, I had to get, out of one country and get to another country, one Airbnb and get to the other Airbnb. I would just be doing everything I could to not have to take everything out of the drawers or whatever, every place that I'd had all my clothes, all my stuff, all of my toiletries, all of my journals, all of my books, my entire life, and put it into a book bag that I would have to play Tetris with, because I had to make sure it's in the packing cubes and make this fit here, because if I put this in this way, then it won't fit. And it was just always such an overwhelming task. At a certain point, I had to, quote unquote, accept my reality, and I would pack my suitcase and it would get done. I'd pack my backpack and it would get done. The reason why I use this example is because what I find really interesting about this chapter is that what Oliver and also the Lumens, Zen monk shared was, it's not just about, okay, like I gotta buckle down and I gotta do the thing, which is what I would kind of do. I'd be like, girl, your flight leaves in a couple of hours. You're either gonna lose hundreds to thousands of dollars on this flight, or you're gonna pack your stuff and be an adult and do what you need to do. And I would get the thing done, but the whole time I would just be miserable. I'd be like, I hate this. And it just was affirming and creating an embodied somatic stamp and imprinting yet again that like this task is the worst and I hate it and I don't like it and I don't want to do it. So it would make sense that every time I had to do it, I'd be like, my body remembers how terrible it was doing it, so I don't want to do it. But then I'll force myself to do it because I have to do it because, like, I have to be an adult and I can't miss my flights and I literally can't live here anymore. Like, Airbnb, I don't know. I can't be a squatter in an Airbnb. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't work. And so what this chapter is talking about is it's not just about necessarily accepting and pummeling through the things that we don't like to do. It's about taking a moment and seeing how we might transform our relationship to the task at hand, to the person at hand, to the relationship at hand, to the situation at hand. Insert whatever blank is at hand. And kind of reroute, rewire how our body is interpreting and being in relationship with this thing that we have to do. So an example would be, in this case with, packing my 40-liter book bag, would be, instead of procrastinating for hours and then forcing myself to rapidly throw things and be really bewildered by it, could be to take a moment, take a breath, and say, okay, hello, my dear suitcase. Hello, my dear book bag. You are a part of my life. This is a part of my life. And it may not be the most fun, life-giving thing to pack up my suitcase. And also, you don't have to be the most energy-draining, soul-sucking. Like, I don't have to attach significance to you like you are the absolute worst thing in the world. I can actually just say, like, hey, here we are again, and it is what it is. It is what it is. And with the neutral, it is what it is, I don't have to feel like soul-sucking. I don't have to feel so scared. And perhaps I can just say, like, okay, so given that it is what it is, like, I don't have to be scared of you. I also don't have to force myself to be super excited. I can just, like, neutrally, in the present moment, breathing through it, be here. And in those moments, solutions perhaps start to come, right? So perhaps when I'm doing this packing up, I can be like, okay, like, I'm seeing all of my toiletries there. Okay, and there's, like, the bag for my toiletries. So, like, let me just go ahead, put the toiletries in the bag there. Okay, I'm seeing all of my, jackets and stuff like this. I can put this there. I can put this there. And just in that rerouting, retransforming my relationship to that task, instead of forcing myself to push through it when I've decided and given it meaning that it's terrible, and then I, like, reinforce that by the whole time telling myself this is terrible, like, can I do the work to first befriend what I am, the task that is at hand? I will say, y'all, full disclosure, I have yet to ever do this with packing. I just read this. I just read this right now. I ain't never thought about that. I ain't never reflected on the fact that, like, I have a difficult anxiety-inducing relationship with packing my suitcase. And all I've been doing for the past 3 years has just been pummeling through it and being like, pull up your pants, stop being a baby about it, and just pack the bags. I never once imagined taking a moment to breathe and be like, oh, maybe I should do a little bit of work to be curious, compassionately curious about my relationship to packing. And maybe this doesn't have to be a terrible anxiety-inducing thing. I never thought about that as a possibility. So I'm not even talking from personal experience right now. I'm literally just extrapolating from this book. I may have a home. I have a home. And so only God knows the next time I might have to pack up my stuff for real. Actually, no, I'm about to be moving. I'm about to be moving all my stuff from all the places I've been over the past 3 years and move into this house. And so I will have a moment where, I think a lot of people do not enjoy having to pack up your life in this time of moving truck for me. But I think already, right, my relationship to moving is shifted, because now this feels really exciting, because I'm like, girl, I know it's so much more overwhelming and it's like 30 times the amount of stuff that you're moving. However, like, I'm not having to do Tetris in a 40-liter backpack. I'm doing Tetris in a 30-foot truck. However, like, what this means to me is no longer, and maybe that's what I was behind a lot of, like, the anxiety and the procrastination, just, like, making meaning of, like, this is a terrible thing, of, like, every time I had to pack up my bag, it was another tangible, visceral, somatic, embodied reminder that I do not have a home. It was like the physical manifestation of the lack of stability in my life and the ever-changing circumstances, environments, the mobility of my life that was beginning to bring me into a place of burnout. And so, yeah, I can just notice in my body right now that even as I think about, I know it's going to be a lot to move from all the different states of, like, literal states in the United States that I have my personal belongings in, to get them all to here where I am now. Like, it's gonna be a moment, but like, I'm actually like high-key excited about it, because the meaning that I'm attaching to it is not like, oh, I've like messed up my life again, or like, I don't know what I'm doing, or I'm like, I'm doing something exciting. And that feels really exciting. So anyways, I'll keep y'all posted. I'm gonna be moving in a couple of weeks. I still can't believe it. You know, inshallah, faith. It's all about faith. No hope. I'm letting go. Faith. And I'm moving in faith. I'm literally moving into a home in faith. So I need to definitely stop saying at the beginning of the episodes, like, I hope I get it under 5 minutes, because this one is giving probably 10 minutes. I feel like it even might be 12. Sorry, y'all. Not sorry. Again, this is for me. No one else is watching these videos at this time. And yet in faith, I'm believing that the whole world will be watching this. I'm having faith that one day Oliver Berkman, you about to be on here. You about to be commenting. You about to be liking and subscribing. So anyways, thanks for joining me on day 11. I hope you all have a wonderful Thursday. And I'll see you tomorrow. All right. Bye.